Where you at, Rufus? Where you at, Rufus? Come on, let's talk about it, man. I didn't do nothing wrong, Rufus. Come on, man. Come on. Let's talk about it, Rufus. Don't do this. Where you at? Where you at, Rufus? Ah, Rufus! Ah! Don't do it! Don't do it, Rufus! Oh, God!
Oh, that's so true. Oh, it's so true. Oh, it was a Saturday night. It was always a Saturday night when the fighters showed up.
The fighters?
You're gonna have to talk a little louder, sweetie. I cannot hear you. But yes, the fighters. Saturday nights are my best memories of living with Daddy Mac. Daddy Mac is your great-great-grandfather. His real name was George Amy McLemore. He was a doctor. He even wrote a book called Thoughts of a Country Doctor. That's him right there.
What's a country doctor?
Speak up a little bit.
What's a country doctor?
Oh, that just means he lived in the country and not the city. And we lived with him until I was 12 years old. And you know what? I was his little helper when his patients came to our house. But the fighters were always my favorite. I remember Saturday nights most of all. That's when the fighters showed up.
Why were they fighting?
Oh, that's one of those things you'll understand as you get older. In those days, men fought about girls most of all. I guess they still fight about girls, but when they get hurt these days, they go to the hospital. When I was a little girl, they came to see Daddy Mac when they got hurt fighting, and I begged my mama and Daddy so hard to let me stay up until the fighters showed up. I knew if I went to bed early, that those fighters would show up as soon as I closed my eyes.
Why did the fighters need to come see Daddy Mac?
Oh, there was lots of reasons, but Daddy Mac had to stitch up cuts most of all, because men fighting about girls love to punch each other right in the face. You want to hear my favorite story of when I got to help Daddy Mac stitch up a fighter?
Yes, ma'am.
It was a Saturday night in 1952, and Mama let me stay up late. I was in Daddy Mac's bedroom playing with all of his doctor stuff when I heard somebody knock on the front door. Our house only had 3 bedrooms and 1 bathroom, but there were 6 people living in there. None of them were as fast as me to that front door, though. I just knew it was a fighter. And it was the worst thing I had ever seen. Do you know what that fighter had in his hand?
What? Mama, I got it!
Is Dr. McLemore here?
Yes.
I gone and got my ear cut off. I want him to put it back on.
Yes, sir. Daddy Mac is here. That looks nasty. Want some Coke?
No, ma'am. I just want him to put my ear back on.
Okay. Mama, get the mop!
Can you believe that? That fighter got his ear cut off. He had that ear in his hand, but in just that little time he stood there, blood dripped all over the porch.
There was blood on the porch?
Yes, ma'am. And when he walked through the house, a few more drops of blood fell on the floor in the living room. I can't tell you how many times Mama had to mop that front porch. She used to mop up the living room floor before she went to bed every Saturday night, but for some reason, she left the front porch mopping for Sunday morning. Tell me something, Caroline. What would you do if somebody cut your ear off?
I don't know. I think Daddy would take me to the hospital.
Of course he would. But in those days in Smithfield, Daddy Mac was the hospital. He had 2 doctor's offices. He had one that he went to every day inside a pharmacy. But his second doctor's office was in the same room he slept in every night. I can't tell you how many people he treated right there in his own bedroom. And his bedroom looked a lot like yours. It was messy, messy, messy. He had piles of clothes and piles of doctor books with gross pictures inside them and piles of what I call stuff. It was just stuff. I loved his bedroom, though. I loved playing with all of his doctor stuff. I think that's why he let me be his little helper when people came to our house needing to see Daddy Mac. And that man that got his ear cut off really needed to see Daddy Mac, didn't he?
Daddy Mac! Daddy Mac!
God almighty, Jimmy, what happened to you?
Got in another fight, Dr. McLemore. That Rufus got me good this time. Cut my ear clean off.
Well, come on in here and sit down. Mary Nell, you know the drill. Go get the flashlight.
Well, I think you're probably too young to understand this, but I don't remember him asking that man for a penny. Going to the doctor nowadays costs a lot of money, but I don't remember Daddy Mac ever asking for any money. Mama told me one time that Daddy Mac did a lot of his doctoring for free. She said some people were too poor to pay him, and some people told him that they would pay him and never did. She said a few people even brought him vegetables and pies and other such food instead of money. He would even take his doctor bag out in the country and tend to some sick people, and most of those people never paid him a nickel. Mama said that before Grandmama died, she used to get so mad that Daddy Mac didn't ever care about money.
Why didn't the airless man pay him? How did Grandmama die? Why didn't he care about money?
Because he cared about people more. Are you going to let me finish this story or what?
You think you can put it back on, Dr. McLemore?
Well, Jimmy, I never put an ear back on before, but you know, I'll do my best.
I know you will, Dr. McLemore. Thank you so much. Is it going to hurt?
Well, I can promise you one thing, Jimmy. It is going to hurt. Now, let me find out something from you. What in the world happened? Did that Rufus's wife, you messing around with her again?
No, sir, it won't his wife this time.
What, is his sister?
No, sir, it won't his sister neither. I didn't start it, though. I come home and his mama come out of my bathroom naked as a baby.
Well, after that man left, that Saturday night in 1952, Mama made me go to bed. I didn't mind too much then. I got to stay up late enough to see a man holding his ear right there in his hand. And you won't believe this. About 30 years later, I saw that man that came to see Daddy Mac and asked him to put his ear back on. Well, I went up to him 30 years later and told him who I was, and he turned his ear towards me kind of like this. And he said, "Look at that, still hanging on after all these years." You know what else is hanging on, Caroline?
What?
The memory.
Go!
I got it! Is Dr. McLemore here? I gonna get my ear cut off. I want him to put it back on. Yes, sir. Dr. Mac is here. That looks nasty. Do you want some Coke? No, ma'am. I just want him to put my ear back on. Okay. Mama! Get the mop!
Can't see the blood. Y'all did great.
I got it! Is Dr. McLemore here? I got in a fight. I got my ear cut off. I want him to put it back on. Yes, sir. Dr. Mac is here. That looks nasty. You want some Coke? No, ma'am. I just want him to put my ear back on. Okay, well. Mama! Get the mop!
Action.
What is it, Mary Nell? God almighty, Jimmy, what happened to you?
I got another fight, Dr. McLemore. That Rufus got me good this time. Cut my ear clean off.
My goodness, Jimmy. Well, come on in here and sit down. Let me see if I can sew it back on.
Daddy Mac!
What is it, Mary Nell? God almighty, Jimmy, what happened to you?
I got another fight, Dr. McLemore. That Rufus got me good this time. Cut my ear clean off.
Good Lord. Well, come on in here and sit down. Let me see what I can do. Mary Nell, you know the drill. Bring me the flashlight on here. Let's see what we can do.
Think you can put it back on, Dr. McLemore?
I don't know, Jimmy. Never put an ear back on before.
I know you will, Dr. McLemore. Thank you so much. Is it going to hurt?
Well, I can guarantee you one thing, Jimmy. It's going to hurt. What else am I supposed to say? That's you.
You think you can put it back on, Dr. McLemore?
I don't know, Jimmy. I never put an ear back on before, but I'll do my best.
I know you will, Dr. McLemore. Thank you so much. Is it going to hurt?
Well, I can't promise it's not going to hurt, Jimmy. In fact, I can promise you it is going to hurt. Now tell me, how in the world did you manage to get that ear cut off? Did you mess around with Rufus's wife again?
No, sir. It won't his wife this time.
How about his sister?
No, sir. It won't his sister neither. He didn't start it, though. I can put it back on, Dr. McLemore.
Well, Jimmy, I never put an ear back on, but I'll do my best.
I know you will, Dr. McLemore. Thank you so much. Is it going to hurt?
Well, I can promise you this, Jimmy. It is going to hurt. Now tell me something, Jimmy. How in the world did you get your ear cut off? You messing around with Rufus's girlfriend again?
No, sir. It won't his wife this time.
His sister?
No, sir. It won't his sister neither. I didn't start it, though. I come home and his mama come out of my bathroom naked as a baby.